The lizard, who hadn't eaten in 3 days, stumbled upon an egg. He couldn't wait to devour it, but just as he was about to dig in, he suddenly heard movement coming from inside. Startled, Oscar froze in place. As cracks began to form on the shell, a baby lizard unexpectedly emerged. Oscar was overjoyed. He had always wanted to experience what it felt like to be a father. Just then the baby lizard's stomach let out a loud growl, and it pointed at its mouth. Of course, Oscar didn't hesitate. He dashed straight toward the home of the desert trio. There he spotted a bunch of bananas on top of a box. Peeling one open, he placed it into his son's mouth. But the little guy had an enormous appetite. He almost bit off Oscar's hand. There was only one banana left, yet the baby still wasn't full. Oscar intended to feed him more, but in the very next second a fork suddenly flew at him. It turned out the desert trio had returned. Realizing the situation was bad, Oscar quickly scooped up his son and ran for it. The little guy sat comfortably on his back munching on the banana, while his father was already too exhausted to move. Oscar glanced back unintentionally and was completely shocked. He couldn't believe his eyes. The baby lizard was now nearly the same size as Oscar. His eyes were still as clear as ever. Oscar pushed aside his doubts. No matter what, this was his child. Without further thought, Oscar hugged him tightly. Just then the desert trio caught up to them, weapons in hand, ready to teach the banana thief a lesson. But they clearly didn't realize there were two lizards now. The two started darting back and forth, and unsurprisingly none of the attacks landed. Furious, Ali smacked Ergo the vulture right on the head. To help his son get more nutrients, Oscar took him to steal some eggs. He came up with the perfect plan. Oscar darted up to the eggs and waved his hands to get the chicks' attention. Once they all pounced on him, Oscar bolted in the opposite direction. This was a classic case of luring the tiger away from the mountain. His son finally had the chance to eat his fill. After finishing the eggs, the baby lizard grew again. The chicks stared in fear. The baby had now turned into a giant beast. His sheer presence forced the chicks to back away. With one mighty roar, even the chick holding Oscar in its beak got the message and promptly let him go. At that moment, Oscar was fired up like never before. But of course, coolness never lasts long. Soon the little lizard was hungry again. Suddenly the irresistible aroma of grilled lamb skewers wafted through the air. Excited, the father and son rushed toward the source. Turns out Ali was barbecuing. The moment he saw the lizards, he ducked out of sight. The pair didn't think much of it and dove straight into the food. Little did they know this was a well-planned trap. Above them a cage had already been rigged. Completely unaware of the danger, they continued eating. When the moment was right, Ali signaled Ergo to cut the rope. The cage came crashing down, trapping the little guy inside. Oscar panicked and frantically banged on the outside. That's when the desert trio appeared, menacing as ever, swinging spiked clubs and hammering away at Oscar. Suddenly the little guy broke through the cage. He was ready to fight back for his father Zero. The trio was chased around in complete chaos by the giant lizard. Thankfully they spotted a car up ahead. Without thinking, they jumped in. Realizing the lizard couldn't catch up, they began taunting again. The baby lizard stopped chasing. Everything seemed fine, but as expected, the unexpected happened.